So everybody tapping in right now. We're gonna go ahead and get this thing started. Tonight is season 2, episode 13 of Ep.13 Live with your host, me, Rodney Hunter. Joined here tonight, you guys. I'm excited. We have a very special guest with us tonight, right here in front of you, and we'll allow him to introduce himself very shortly. But before that, I definitely have to let y'all know why I bring Ep.13 Live to you all every Friday. Every Friday, it's to look for those or hear those true testimonies from our former and current athletes, those that we supported and looked up to, those who we followed, those who we enjoyed watching, and being great fans of throughout their careers. And with me personally being a former athlete, I just know that there's a lot more behind the scenes work, behind off the field work that we go through that most aren't exposed to. So I'm here to share these stories with our guests and get these testimonies and untold stories out there for y'all. Very inspiring, very motivating, and definitely can impact anyone who's listening and tapped in tonight in any way, form, or fashion. So please sit back, relax, enjoy this live tonight as we rock out with you. Audience, please, again, throughout the live, drop your comments down below, ask your questions, don't hesitate. Hit the question mark down at the bottom. You can drop your questions in there. Hit that paper airplane. Send us out to everybody you know anytime you feel like it. And also, I seen y'all doing it right now. Y'all hitting that heart down at the bottom right corner. Y'all filling this room with some love. Y'all showing support and love. I greatly appreciate it. Continue to do that throughout the night, y'all, if y'all enjoying this live testimony. Let's see it. So for the very first time on If Factor Friday Live, we have a former Heisman finalist, right here in front of you guys. He's gonna be dropping diamonds and sharing his journey, speaking on what his journey was like for us. This guy here, he played in one of the Power 5 conferences, being the Big Ten, right? And y'all know I'm here with it on Friday, so I got to drop these accolades. I got to drop the resume on you real quick. Doak Award winner in 2012, which is the nation's best running back. Again, like I mentioned before, the 2011 Heisman Trophy finalist, along with RG3, who did win it that year. You had Trent Richardson in that running as well, Andrew Luck, and Tyrann Mathieu, man. Some big names there.
Yeah.
Some notable names, man. Also a two-time All-American, also two-time running back of the year. Was that Amici and Dane?
Yep.
Amici and Dane Award. Also first team Big Ten in 2011, 2012. Archie Griffin Award winner in 2011. A Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year in 2011 as well. And three-time Big Ten champion, 2010 to 2012, man. What a resume there for you, man. Great success throughout your, first off, your collegiate career, man, along with your pro career and also your high school career as well, man. We're going to touch bases on those.
Yeah.
Man, you hold records throughout the NCAA, single season records. You hold conference records, man. You hold all types of records, man. And we're going to touch on those throughout the live. So with that being said, now I'm going to pass the floor over to you. I'm going to pass the mic over to you, man. I'm going to ask if you could properly introduce yourself. Just give us, your first and last name, where you're from, born and raised, what school you went to, high school, some of the college that you went to, and some of the NFL teams you played on as well.
All right, perfect. I appreciate the introduction. I really, really
Most
do,
definitely.
and I'm grateful as well that you reached out to me. There's so many people that I'm sure you can reach out to, so I'm grateful for that. But to everybody, my name is Montee Ball. I was born in McPherson, Kansas, but I only lived there until about age 2, and then moved to a town called Wentzville, Missouri, where I grew up, played football at Timberland High School in Wentzville. Played very well. Still hold some records down in the state of Missouri for running backs, so I'm still excited about that. And then had the opportunity, obviously, to go on and play in college, and I narrowed it down between Iowa, Wisconsin, and Stanford. But I honestly didn't want to go too far from home, so I strayed away from Stanford. I didn't really want to do that. So it was between Iowa and Wisconsin. And once I had my official visit at Wisconsin, I was sold. I was like, that's where I want to play football at. I want to be like Ron Dane and all that jazz. I want to see if I can try to break the records, all that stuff. And obviously with just Wisconsin style football, they breed linemen, they breed running backs. So I'm like, this is a perfect system for me. Pretty easy decision. So made my decision to go to school at Wisconsin, and played with some greats. The other day I was thinking about it. How many people I've had the opportunity to step on the field with on the same
Mm-hmm.
team,
Mm-hmm.
from J.J. Watt at Wisconsin to Russell Wilson at Wisconsin,
Yeah.
to many other names, obviously James White, Melvin Gordon, etc. And then obviously
Mm-hmm.
pro, had the opportunity to play for the Denver Broncos, my favorite childhood team growing up. I grew up aspiring to be a running back for the Denver Broncos. As soon as I was drafted by them at 58th overall, I tweeted out a photo of me when I was 8 years old wearing the Terrell Davis jersey.
Okay.
So it was honestly a dream come true, honestly. But had the opportunity to play for the Broncos in the Super Bowl. It was a Super Bowl where we lost against the Seahawks, where we got destroyed. And then went on to play for the Patriots for a little bit, and then, spiraled out of control with with alcohol, which we're going to get into obviously here
Mm-hmm.
on the show. But many trials and tribulations, but many highs as well too.
Definitely, man.
Very very fortunate, very very fortunate.
Again, man, I want to highlight, again, you say when you got drafted, man, you tweeted out a picture with you with a Terrell Davis jersey on, man. So first and foremost, man, again, I commend you and I praise you for reaching that level of success and that goal that you've always dreamed of, man. And again, it being one of your favorite teams growing up. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
so I definitely, again, I applaud you for that there, man. And I'm pretty
thank
sure
you.
you enjoyed every step of the journey. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you enjoyed that journey there, man, and lived out that dream.
Hmm.
So with that being said, man, let's wind back, man. Tell us
Okay.
about what it was like for you growing up. You say you moved from
Yeah.
Kansas, but what was that like for you growing up, man? How was football your first love, man? Were there any other sports that you were involved in?
Nice. I love that. So yeah, moved to Winston, Missouri, and grew up, not well off, not rich, not anything like that. My parents worked very hard for what we had. My older sister at the time, but then my younger sister came about 9 years later. But I always like to tell people, yeah, I wasn't rich growing up, but we got everything that we asked for. That's
Hmm.
for sure. So grew up in a two-parent household, loved it. Very, very fortunate again. But yeah, football was my first love. I remember the day when I was 8 years old, and I was outside playing football with my cousin, throwing it around, and I was like, you know what, I think I may want to play football, but I don't know. I didn't really know much about it. Run
Hmm.
inside the house, and I see my dad. I see my dad sitting on the couch watching TV, but he was like cheering and stuff. So I sat down right next to him and noticed that he was watching. At the time, I didn't know, of course, who they were, but he was watching the Broncos play. He was a Broncos fan, which is how I jumped on that bandwagon. But long story short, I was like, you know what? I want for my dad, I want for my parents to cheer for me like they're cheering for the players right now on the television. So that's how I
Hmm.
fell in love with the sport, because I was like, you know what? I want to give it a shot. And my dad was actually my head coach from Little League football to my freshman year in high school. Well, I guess till eighth grade. My freshman year in high school, I had new coaches, of course, but we 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 most definitely been we rode that journey out for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Man, similar story here with me, man. My dad's been my coach in football from
Okay.
Part One of Little League
Yeah.
all the way up throughout high school, even to my senior year of high school, man. So my dad's definitely been one of them coaches, someone that's definitely impacted me, man, influenced me to one
Yeah.
continue to play football, man, and just follow behind his steps, man. Let me ask you, did your father play football? Um,
He. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, so did your father play football, or were there any role models that you looked up to, man,
Yeah.
following your dreams?
My father did play football just throughout high school. He didn't really go anywhere to
Hmm.
play. Um, but I idolized Terrell Davis growing up.
For
Um,
sure.
big fan of Terrell Davis. I got a photo somewhere around here.
I'm pretty
Oh,
sure you
there it
do.
is on the wall of me. My first time meeting him.
Okay.
I'm in my Broncos uniform, practice gear right after practice, and I'm smiling here.
Nah, that's pretty lit, man. Were you starstruck at that moment? Because you were then at that point in time, you were a pro as well. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
right.
But you see one of your idols there, man. Again, were you starstruck? What was that
I
moment like for
was.
you? Yeah.
I wasn't gonna tell anybody or let anybody tell. Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. I wasn't gonna let anybody tell me that to not soak that moment in, because it was right
Hmm.
after practice, and some guys kind of like to play it cool when they finally meet their idol. No, I soaked it in. I was like an 8-year old.
Yeah.
8-year-old little boy when I met him, because I literally told my father when I was 8. I said I literally told him I want to be a running back for the Denver Broncos, and I accomplished it because of watching film of Terrell Davis, wanting to be like him, etc. So when I met him,
Mhm.
that's a dream come true.
So was football your only sport, man?
I played basketball. I played basketball in high school. Um, but yeah, I was decent at basketball. It was kind of one of those things that I just played it just to stay in shape.
I got you.
Uh, but played basketball, but my love is football.
Mhm.
Period.
So once you fell in love with that pigskin, man, once you felt, because man, you a beast with that at running back, man. Like, did you, like, how did you, decide that you wanted to be a running back? How did you decide that, hey, I know I want to be a running back? No center, no
Yeah,
receiver, no quarterback. Like, what played a role into that, man? How did that look for you?
yeah, I love that. I love this question, man. So I actually, funny story. So when I told my father I want to be running back, I was too heavy to be running back. So for like the first 3 years of football, I wasn't a ball carrier because
Okay.
I weighed too much. So I played actually linebacker, a lot of linebacker, but the first year I played, I played like left tackle or something.
Mm.
But no, I didn't have the opportunity to be a ball carrier until I hit age like 11, and I had to lose about 9 pounds. And I for 2 weeks I ate like salads and just drank water and ran a lot and lost the weight to be a ball carrier.
Hey man, listen. You say you ate salad, so I got a little story here, man. A lot of people may say yuck or whatever, man. But it was a time when I was playing pound football, so part one of football, man. I
All
had to
right.
lose a
Yep.
few pounds. I had to lose a few pounds that week before the game came on Saturday, man. So the only thing that I was suggested to eat was
Yeah.
salad, right? And they say dressing is fattening or whatever, this and that, man. So I started eating salad with ketchup to lose weight.
What?
Yes, man. Yes, I don't know if you ever heard of that, man. And you haven't because I can tell by the look on your face. But salad and ketchup, because they were like, man, if you eat dressing or whatever, it's gonna put fat on you, whatever this and that. I'm like, okay, well, let me try this salad thing. I need to lose weight. Let me try this ketchup thing. So
Salad and ketchup, man.
yes.
But it worked though, huh?
It definitely worked. It
All
definitely
right.
worked, man, because
All right.
I got used to it, man. I started
Yeah.
eating it like on a regular, like, okay, I know if I need to lose a few pounds, I can throw some ketchup on my salad and it'll work. You know what I'm saying?
I've
So
actually
yeah,
never
man.
thought about that.
Hey,
Never
a
thought
lot of
about
people are
that.
not gonna try that, man. But hey, just open your mind up a little bit. Just throw a little squeeze on that, man. It's gonna work out for you.
I mean, I guess it is just lettuce and ketchup. I mean,
Yeah.
who knows? I'll try it out. I'll try it out and I'll hit you up. I'll let you know how it is.
Sound good, man. So, did you play football? Again, you did play football as a kid. You say you played left
Yeah.
tackle and things of that nature there. But once you got to high school, what was your mindset like, man, going into high school and becoming a running back? Did you want to come in and were you like gassed up to be, this elite running back, or were you,
Mhm.
what was your mindset like, man, as approaching or playing, high school ball?
Yeah. So I actually didn't play varsity until my sophomore year on. So my freshman year, I just played. I actually just played freshman football. I don't even know if it was like JV level. It was like freshman
Okay.
football. So I was kind of coasting. I want to say I wasn't doing any sort of off season training or anything like that. So I was kind of coasting. I knew I was good, of course, but I wasn't really doing what I needed to do to
Yeah.
make that next jump. But I did going into my sophomore year. My father got me connected to this organization that trained me. I mean, you see the videos now all the time, people running on the treadmills and
Mm-hmm,
incline
mm-hmm.
and stuff with the trainer right behind them. I started doing that a lot. And I really started to understand what it takes to be a great player. It's the off season. It's
Yeah.
what you do during the off season, what you put in your body, how you train, and just being committed to it. And once I learned that, that is when I went into my sophomore year, and then the rest of my years playing football. Of okay, I really got to grind and keep that fire underneath me. So that
Yeah,
that
man.
was a teaching moment for me.
That fire was lit, and it
Yeah,
definitely it definitely played its course, man,
yeah.
into the career that you had at the high school level, man. Coming out of Wisconsin, was it? No, Missouri. I'm sorry, coming out of Missouri as one of the fourth best player in that
Yeah,
state. You were
yeah,
33 ranked overall in the nation coming out of
yeah.
high school, man. How did that feel, man? What did that success feel like for you, man? With the numbers that you were putting up, man, the success that you were having as a young high school player, man. How did you channel that?
Oh man. Um, yeah, it was a little difficult at first. I mean, but again, you don't know what you don't know. So I once it came about, I was shocked and all that stuff. It took me a while to kind of handle being on the front cover of a Sports Illustrated magazine.
You were.
Yeah, I was. I liked it at first, but then I was a little anxious afterwards, and I guess that just came with the limelight, all that stuff. Just nervous about being in the public eye. So it was challenging at first, but I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't love it. I mean, it was challenging, but I enjoyed it early on. So
Oh, I'm pretty sure, man. Again, you were on Sports Illustrated, man. Again, 17, 16, 17, 18-year-old, having the success that you were having at that age, man. We
yeah,
we definitely gonna enjoy those moments, man. So I could also believe that it had to be somewhat challenging, man, to kind of, keep that balance of, hey, let me stay, level headed and continue to do what I need to do
right.
to get to that next level, and let
Right.
me not, be too gassed up with the success and the fame that I'm being exposed to. Because some people can take that, man, and it guide them in different paths and directions,
So
man. That ain't
true.
the greatest.
So true. You answered that so much better than I did. Yeah, it's one of those. It just comes at you quick. It comes at you quick. So I always, when I talk to parents now, when they always ask, about just getting to that next level with their kid and their sport. Obviously, I talk about mechanics, footwork, etc. But I also share information about how to handle that just acceleration into the public eye.
Mm,
You got to be prepared for that. You really, really do. You got to be prepared for always feeling like people are watching you or judging you, and also you just got to be, you got to do it right. Everything's got to be right.
yeah.
Everything's got to be right.
Let me ask you, man. 'Cause you just mentioned judging. People definitely
Yeah.
had to been judging you, man. How did you handle that? Like,
Oh
what
yeah.
how did that impact you?
Impacted me greatly. So I talk about it a lot when I go around and speak and stuff. I speak on how poorly I handled the public eye. That
Hmm.
quick acceleration into that fame. I struggled with it, and I self-medicated with alcohol. Obviously, hindsight being 2020, I didn't realize until now. But allowing for myself to kind of let my hair down, drink, party, and all that stuff was my moments of escaping from the the public eye, the judgment, the
Hmm.
constant
Hmm.
fear of what am I hope I don't do anything wrong,
Hmm.
and all that stuff. So it was challenging for me. It was very, very challenging.
Yeah. So, let me ask you, man. So, going into college, you say it came down to Stanford,
Yeah,
Iowa, and Wisconsin.
correct.
Uh, those three schools, man. Let me ask you overall, how many offers did you have? Again, you were a
Uh,
beast coming out of high
but yeah,
school.
but it's crazy. I didn't have that. I had nine. I mean, I guess if that's a lot to some people, I didn't get an offer from, like, I guess I can name them: Northwestern, obviously Wisconsin, Mizzou, Iowa State, Iowa,
Were there
um,
any schools you were expecting offers from that you wanted to go to, that you wanted to take a trip to, or you were just like, hey, what comes
Michigan,
my way, Michigan?
Michigan.
Do you want?
Yeah, yeah. Every athlete at high school wants a chance at, just to take an official visit to Michigan and possibly play for
I got
Michigan. But I'm everything happens for a reason. I'm
for
very
sure.
glad that I'm a Badger.
Hmm. Most definitely. So, what led you going to Wisconsin, man? You say that you took a visit there, man, and you
Yeah,
fell in love with it. But what was that feeling like?
yeah,
How did they support you?
man. I come from a town where it's a bigger town now, but growing up, it wasn't that big. We're only talking about, and again, some people this is big, to some it's not, but it was only about 30,000 people, and to me that wasn't that big, but everybody kind of knew everybody. So once I had the opportunity to take an official visit to Wisconsin, it was a night game where they were playing the Buckeyes. Um, And this state, they love their football.
Mm-hmm.
They love their football. So, me coming in at 18 years old on an official visit to Camp Randall Stadium, 90,000 people on a night game against Ohio State Buckeyes, I was sold. I told myself I want to play on a big stage. I want to play on a big stage.
Yeah.
And looks like a pretty big stage to me. So of course they took care of me, showed me around. Obviously we talked about academics, etc. Talked about the campus, showed me where like the freshman cafeteria is at or what have you, all that jazz. But then some of the players took me out at night and, and showed me the nightlife at Wisconsin. But honestly, man, it's a blessing, and the official visit went
Yeah.
very well. Yeah,
For sure, man. I'm pretty sure it was a great visit, man. That's a Division I Power 5
yeah.
ranked school there, man. So I can only imagine what that experience was like for you.
Mm.
Did you go back there and visit often?
Wisconsin?
Yeah. Well,
Currently,
your school.
yeah, currently in Wisconsin right now. Yeah, that's where I'm
Okay.
living right now. Yeah. So,
Okay.
I mean, I don't really go on campus much at all, but I was fortunate enough for my family, my parents and my sisters all moved up here my freshman year in college.
Okay.
And we kind of made a deal, some sort of family pact. To some, it's weird, but we're very, very close. When I was about 13 years old, my parents said if I'm going to be very serious with the game of football, possibly land a scholarship with the hopes of playing pro, then they're going to be right there for me every step of the way. And they
That's
kept their
big.
word. Yeah.
That's big, man. Just to have your family support you, man, and to leave where you guys were raised and brought
Right.
up, man, to a whole new, state and things of that nature there to support you pursuing your
Yeah.
dreams. Did you know that you always wanted to become a pro athlete?
I did. And the reason why that came about was growing up before the age of 8. I lived in a duplex, obviously, with my parents and my older sister. My younger sister wasn't born yet, but again, we were living on Section 8. To us kids, we weren't poor, but we were poor. And then an unfortunate situation happened with my aunt and uncle, and they had to move in, and with their 4 kids into the home. Long story short, we ended up obviously bringing them in, but a year went by, and we ended up moving to a newer home, and watching how happy my mom was and my dad was, I was like, you know what, I want to provide like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started to really focus on the stories of celebrities and athletes buying their parents a home, and
Yeah.
to me, I was like, okay, maybe the game of football can give me that.
Mm-hmm. Nah, man, that's real right there, man. And in the game of football, in my eyes, I believe it can get a lot of people there. Just sports in
Right?
general, this professional sports lifestyle, man, can
Yeah.
definitely do that. And for anyone out there pursuing it, I say go full speed at it. Do what
Right.
it takes. Because again, it can definitely set yourself and your family up, for a
Right.
lifelong, lifestyle of happiness and anything that you want
Right.
can be right there before you. So let's go back to your college days, man.
All right.
So you got the opportunity to go to Wisconsin. Where you wanted to come in there and be a true starter? Did you want a red shirt, man? What was your mindset going into Wisconsin?
Yeah. My mindset was to come in as a starter. I just finished out a good high school career, and I'm like, you know what? I'm choosing to go to a good school where they produce linemen, they produce running backs, and I feel like I have what it takes, to be a dominant running back in college. But unfortunately, I didn't. When I first came in, I didn't.
Yeah.
I sat behind John Clay
Okay.
and Zach Brown,
Mm-hmm.
two good running backs who I sat behind. It took me a little while to adjust to the speed, adjust to the physicality of the sport once you get to the collegiate level, and also the speed. And then fast forward to my sophomore year. I mean, man, do you want me? I can just go ahead and get into it right now. I
Go
mean, you
ahead,
want?
go ahead,
All
let
right.
us have it, man. Give it to us, man.
All
You're
right.
gonna go
Let
ahead and
me get serious here. All right. So going into my sophomore year, same thing. I barely played at all. And then we had this running back out of Florida come in, James White, who pushed me down even further on the depth chart of running backs. I was then behind John Clay, who was 1, James White 2, and me as a sophomore. And what happened was we beat Ohio State, who was ranked number 1 in the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you probably remember that game. First kickoff, boom, to David Gilreath. He takes it back for a touchdown. But I didn't play a single snap that entire game. Fans rushed the field, all the above. They were the number 1 team in the country, and we beat them. And that set a fire under me. I was livid. I went home to talk to my parents, my dad. I was like crying, just upset, angry, saying maybe I should go back to playing linebacker and all that stuff. We had a great conversation, and he told me just to, when I get my chance, to really give it to him.
Yeah.
And so fast forward literally to the next week. The next week against Iowa, at Iowa, James White goes down with an injury. Then John Clay goes down with an injury.
And your name was called.
My name was called. And I got in. First play I got in, it was 4th down and 2. I'm lined up in the slot position. I run a slant, catch the ball, first down. I mean, there's like a minute and a half left to go in the game, and we're down. And long story short, I go in. 2 plays later, he calls a run play. I go in and score the game-winning touchdown. And from there, I was a starter to the end of my to the end, yeah. To the end, yeah.
Man, how did that make you feel, man? Again, hearing your name called and looking forward to the opportunity, man, to go out there and showcase your skills.
Yeah.
Again, having that chip on your shoulder, having that fire lit under you, that you were sitting, third on the depth chart, man. And then again, injuries, something that we can't control, man.
Right.
It's something we can't control, man. But for you to get that opportunity, man, how did that, play a role into everything else that you did after that moment?
Right. It what it did is it solidified, the mantra of, just brought so much more truth to it, where when they say you're most likely going to get your opportunity when the player ahead of you gets, something unfortunate or an injury or what have you happens to that player. And many players would talk about that too. Like, I got my opportunity because this first string got injured, or et cetera. So when I talk to kids now, I tell them, don't pray, don't wish and hope to get that opportunity. Wish and hope to be prepared when that opportunity comes, because everybody gets their opportunity. You're going to get it. It may not be in a game. It may be in practice. It may be you just getting back there and catching a punt return.
Facts. Yeah.
When you're going to get that opportunity. You just pray, wish, and hope that you're going to be prepared for it, because that might be the only time you get it. That may be the only chance you got. And so when I had that opportunity, I told myself, I said, this may be the last shot I got to let them know that I can play, that I belong. And when I got in, when I did what I did, I told myself, well, I'm never going to give it back then. I'm never going to give this first string back. And I never did. I went on into my junior year and was fortunate enough to get a new running back coach. Our other running back coach went elsewhere, but we got a running back coach by the name of Thomas Hammock. Changed my game forever. I mean, I'll let you. I don't want to keep talking. If you got
No, you're good, man. You're
okay,
good. Go ahead, rock out.
Yeah. So Thomas Hammock comes in, right? And when he came, so this will be the answer one of your questions about the defining moment. Okay. The defining moment was with Coach Hammock. So
well, let us touch on that. Let us get back to that right there. So let us get back to that. I got a question for you, man. So again, I see that you had honors, man, throughout high school, throughout college, records broken, academics, man. So again, we started to hear more about student athlete when we get to college. Was the student part ever a struggle for you, man? Or how was the academic side of things for you as a student athlete in college?
Yeah. This challenging. I was always told I was a bright kid. So I mean, I never really struggled, but it was just difficult at first trying to balance being a student athlete. You're trying to balance to keep in a position, or trying to prove that you need to go higher up on the depth chart to your coaches. So you're balancing that, but also balancing new classes, trying to find your classes, all of that. So it was challenging, but The athletes are fortunate enough to have an athletic center where we're provided with tutors, with all the help we need because we're constantly on the move just because of
Mm-hmm.
our sport. So they provide us with enough help to help us throughout the journey.
I can't say it enough. That those programs and those resources are available for all college athletes.
Yeah.
So please take advantage of those if you need the help, when you need the help. Don't be afraid to ask for it because it's there for you. That's
Mm-hmm.
something that I struggled with until I was forced to have that help offered to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So again, for those out there, take advantage of it. My son over here playing around. Uh, okay, I guess he thought he was gonna want to come say hey. But anyways, so again, it don't seem like the academics part was too much of a struggle for you, but I'm gonna say that it's a main qualifier for anyone to continue to play and have a great career in athletics, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need those grades to play, and that's something I like to harp on, man, because
Yeah.
again, I had an experience with where my grades impacted me in a way, you know what I'm saying, throughout my
Okay.
collegiate career. So
Yeah.
I just want to put that out there for everybody. For those who are student athletes and just students that aren't playing sports right now, you know. So I just want to throw that out there. Montee, we
Mm-hmm.
have you right now joined in on the 13th episode of Impact Friday Live. I greatly appreciate you, man. I
Yes,
greatly
sir. Thank you for
appreciate
having me.
everyone who's
I love
tapped in
this.
right now and viewing this as well from the comforts of their home. If you're driving home from work right now, I greatly appreciate y'all tapping in. Please ask your questions below. Please flood the room with some love. Tap that paper airplane down at the bottom right corner. Send us out to everybody you know, guys. We're going up tonight. True testimony right here by Montee Ball. Greatly appreciate him sharing his story. We'll be getting to his F Factor very, very shortly. We're still going to be going through this journey and visualizing this picture that he's going to be painting for us, y'all.
Yeah.
So at Wisconsin, man, um, since the not athletics, but the academics weren't too much of a struggle, were there any other distractions, man, a part of your collegiate career, man? We all have them.
Oh man, $1 million question. $1 million question. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. Wisconsin. I love Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fortunate to have had the opportunity to play for Wisconsin at Wisconsin with everybody who's played at Wisconsin and repping the Motion W. Many distractions. One big one being partying. Wisconsin is a drinking state. It is a drinking state, most likely the drinking capital of the states. And again, once I hopped on scene, it was most definitely a cultural shock for me. Seeing bars everywhere, watching people go in and out of the bars, it was that FOMO aspect that I'm missing out. I'm
Mm.
missing out. I want to experience what they're experiencing, what everyone seems to be experiencing. I didn't have the opportunity sometimes of chiming in with some of the players about the night before, all that jazz. So that FOMO pulled me in and pulled me in deep. And that was a huge distraction for me, was the drinking, was the partying, was how accessible it was,
Yeah.
and also how much of a social norm it is. And
Mm-hmm.
so once you start to tell yourself maybe I need to focus more on football or my grades, that social norm that comes in and it's like, well, everyone's doing it. I'm just doing what everybody else is doing. And so the partying for sure, huge distraction.
Was there any moment where you felt like it was impacting you in a negative way? You know, was it altering your performance on the field as a collegiate athlete?
See, I love that question because hindsight being 2020, I almost wish that it did, because then I may have seen the red flags sooner, as opposed to seeing them during my professional career and obviously after. My toughest year off the field, dealing with depression, anxiety, and developing alcoholism, trying to come to terms with it. Like he's falling. I'm sorry, man.
You're good. You're good.
But wanting to come to terms with alcoholism, but I just couldn't do it. That happened my junior year, man. My junior season, which was actually my best season in football, but I was struggling the most off the field. Um, and so I caution people when we talk about the distractions on a college campus, if you're an 18-year-old watching this, there's plenty distractions. You just have to be prepared. You have to prepare yourself for them. Hopefully that answers your
Um,
question.
no, it does. It does. I want to ask you, man. Did you ever feel like you had friends or family, anyone involved to, kind of, support your kind of, kind of pull you away from those times where you may have, again, you were having success on the field, but off the field, you possibly personally was probably going through a little something that, you may have wanted to get off your chest.
Yeah, yeah. So I, man, I was so fortunate to have my family in my backyard from my dorm room. Um, Good friends all throughout college too. But I wasn't gonna stop drinking. I wasn't gonna stop messing with the distractions just because I felt like if I'm still performing at a very high level on the field, then I'm obviously not doing anything wrong. That's why I always say I
Hmm.
almost wish that there was an earlier sign for me. So when I say I caution our youth going into college, pay attention to those red flags. Pay attention to them. Understand what you're doing. That's just what it is. Understand the habits that you're creating.
So with the success that you were having, man, and then the opportunity of becoming or getting drafted creeping upon you, man,
Yeah.
what did that do for you, man? How were you able to challenge that? What did that do for you mentally? Again, success as a collegiate athlete, personally going through some things, that you couldn't really too much feel too confident about speaking about, man. But then you have a great, one of the biggest interviews of your life approaching. How were
Right.
you able to, how did you guide yourself through that?
Yeah. It was tough, man. Very, very tough because I was very withdrawn from a lot of people. So I really didn't reach out and ask and maybe speak to former players who have gone through the process. It was challenging, but also exciting, but also very, very exciting because I knew obviously the next step is me accomplishing my dream.
Hmm.
So that in itself too ratcheted up the anxiety level,
Yeah.
knowing that it's right there, and also knowing that it's right there, everything becomes bigger, larger, faster. Um, there's more scrutiny, etc. So it's just a whirlwind of emotions, man. That's why I always just preach on reaching out for help, speaking to somebody, because when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, you got a lot going on, a lot of
Oh yeah.
emotions, trying to figure out which direction you want to head in your life, what groups you want to be around, what do you want to study, all of that. So I'm a huge advocate for mental health on college campuses. Huge.
Cool, man. Nah, I think that's major. That's not something that was harped on or talked about back when
Mm-hmm.
I was in college, around the
Right.
same time you were in college, man. But I think nowadays they should definitely implement that into those curriculums, or just
I
within
agree.
the football structure, the football environment and program.
Yeah.
If they don't want to have classes to support it and things of that nature there.
Yeah.
Uh, are you able to speak about some of the things you're doing right now? Outside of football
Yeah.
regarding mental health and things of that nature.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A lot. Other than obviously just going around and speaking and um, sharing as much as I can to our youth and schools, etc. I do a lot of work with the Wisconsin Voices for Recovery as well, which is a large organization in the state of Wisconsin. I literally just went around today in Milwaukee and installed Narcan boxes. Literally did that earlier today at a church and at another organization called Gateway. I forgot what street that's on, but long story short, installed some Narcan boxes for them so that we can make it more accessible for people.
What's a Narcan box? I'm sorry for
Yeah,
my ignorance, man, but
no, no,
let
no,
me
you're
know.
fine. No, you're fine. So Narcan is essentially what you use when somebody's overdosing of an opioid. If they're lying on the ground, on their face, what have you, the Narcan kind of brings them back to life. It's that Lazarus effect. It's a
Mm,
nasal spray is the one that we install. And essentially what it is if you obviously are seeing someone overdose, you provide them with the nasal spray, the 2 squirts, and you wait about a minute, and in a nutshell, they come back to life.
they'll wake up. Right.
Yeah, from that. And so we're seeing obviously spikes with our spike alerts. of the opioid crisis, how it's actually impacting our own backyard. We get those spikes literally to our phone about people overdosing, and so
Mm.
we are like, okay, let's go about and create something that's going to help people, make it more accessible. Because like right now, I have a Narcan box upstairs. I can open it up and I can actually take it, and it's not harmful. What
Right.
it does is, in a nutshell, it shuts down the receptors like from the opioid trying to attach to your brain. Well, if you don't have those, nothing's going to happen. So we're preaching we need to make that more accessible, like a first aid kit, like a fire extinguisher.
Mm.
That helps to destigmatize it as well too. People should just be able to come in and just grab one. Don't have to say nothing. You don't have to explain yourself at all. It could be a
Right.
parent grabbing it for their child if they know that their child is experimenting with drugs. So we do that. I also just finished my book. That is finally going through the formatting process now. It finished the editing process. Now it's being formatted. And my story is it's deep, man. I don't sugarcoat anything. I keep it raw and real.
You
And
have a title for us that we can look forward to?
yes, sir. It's called Nowhere to Run. Is what it's called. Nowhere
Nowhere
to
to
Run.
run.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking
And then
forward to it, man.
absolutely. So I'm doing a lot, man. I'm on the Recovery Advocacy Project board, which is a national board where I'm one of 13 reps in the state of Wisconsin who report to them about what's going on in the area. What do we need? What are some programs that we can put together? Just organizing stuff just to help out those who are suffering in silence. I strongly believe that football, I'm very religious. I strongly believe that, God.
Y'all give us a moment. Uh, his phone may have failed. It looked like it has fallen. So we're gonna give him a second to reconnect with us. If y'all still in the live with us right now, I greatly appreciate y'all for showing love throughout this live. Boom. There you go. Let's see here. We're gonna get him right back in here, you guys. But again, I greatly appreciate y'all showing. He's a fumbled the ball. Let's see here. I got you. I got you.
I did see that.
What's that? The comment?
Yeah, I did see that. You know what? I'm just gonna hold the phone. I apologize for that. I really, really do. And I
Now you
apologize
good.
to those obviously who are listening. I'm just gonna hold my phone now. So I don't trust my AirPods when it comes to stuff like this because sometimes
Okay.
it'll disconnect. So I got these on so the bottom piece keeps wobbling the
You
phone. So
got
I'm
the
just gonna
old
hold it.
school.
Yep. But um what was I talking about?
You were talking about some of the things that you're involved in.
Yeah, right. A lot of stuff, man. With the goal, like I said, of destigmatizing recovery, destigmatizing addiction, and I strongly believe that God gave me the abilities to play the game of football to create a stage to speak about something way greater than myself.
Yeah, most
I
definitely.
strongly I don't my mission in life is not to play 10 years in the NFL. It just wasn't, not at all. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
hmm So I wanted to ask you. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit, man. What was your
Yeah.
draft preparation like, man? How was that experience for you? We spoken to a lot of our former guests on In Fact the Friday Live, man.
Yeah.
Those who went through the combine experience, man, they said it was one that they enjoyed, one that was busy, one that was tough for them. But what was your
Yeah.
experience like?
Yeah. It's very, very busy. The combine is extremely busy. It's a little stressful too. Very, very stressful. So fans just see what we do on the day of the drills.
Hmm
They don't see the last 2 days that we're there.
Yeah,
And so, I mean, you're you're getting poked and pulled in different directions. You got interviews that you got to do. So imagine a hotel, right? In like each room is a different team's room. You have the Denver Broncos on like room 101 or something.
yeah,
And what you'll see on the back of your lanyard is a list of teams if they want to do a formal interview with you, meaning suit, etc. You walk in. So I walked into the Broncos room, and they got a light flashing down on me. John Elway sitting across the table. It was Coach Fox at the time. So I'm 22, 21, 22, whatever. I'm sweating. I'm super nervous. They're
Yeah.
recording. So you got to do that. I had 18 of those that I had to do. You got to do a bunch of tests, electronic tests, like the New York Giants test is 600 and something questions, I believe. Yeah. You do a lot. And
Yeah.
then at nighttime, at like 3 a.m., 2 a.m., you'll get a random phone call, random drug test. So you got to hurry up, get dressed, get down to the doctor. You realize there's only one doctor there, like for the drug test line. So you may be standing in line with like 30 other people. They
Wait.
they purposely do that stuff. They try to make you uncomfortable to see how well you're going to perform
I
while
got you.
being uncomfortable.
Did that alter you any? Did that affect you any?
No, I anticipated it.
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate enough to link up with my agent for about a week going into the combine. So I was done training in Florida, and I gave myself about a week. Gave myself about a week, and then my agent spoke to me and pretty much shared with me, like, just be prepared for anything, like literally anything, from them walking in on you, into your room at 2 a.m., 1 a.m., phone ringing, whatever. He said, because their goal is to purposely not make this comfortable for you. Because if you perform well when you're not comfortable, then they're able to then say, okay, then once he gets really comfortable, I'm sure he can play even better or perform even better. So it's a test. It's a mental test. It's more mental than physical.
So then draft day comes around, man, and then to get that call, man, that you were chosen in the second round, 52nd overall by again one of your dream teams, man. What was that feeling like for you, man? Was your family around? What was that atmosphere like for you, man? Hearing your name called being drafted.
Yeah, man. It was a dream come true, man. I remember literally. So I didn't go to New York. It was Trent Richardson. No, not Trent. Was it Trent? Yeah. No, Eddie Lacy.
Okay.
Long story short, they took one running back to New York, um, and I decided to have like a little gathering, family and friends in Wisconsin, in a
Mm-hmm.
banquet hall in a hotel. And I knew I wasn't going to go first day, which is first round. So my family and friends just enjoyed themselves in the banquet hall. I stayed in the hotel. They all did as well. Next day, my agent was like, "Okay, you could possibly go today. So be prepared." And I'm super nervous, man, watching the screen. Super, super nervous. Actually playing with the Rubik's Cube because I'm just so anxious. Everybody's laughing behind me.
Yeah.
I have my phone propped up just like I did earlier on a glass of water, and all of a sudden it started to ring. Now, granted, they took Le'Veon Bell, I think, Giovanni Bernard, I think, went first, then Le'Veon Bell. And so I'm super nervous. I'm like, gosh. I'm like, okay. Phone starts to ring. I see that it's a 303 area code. It says Denver, Colorado. I stand up. I start smacking my dad on his shoulder. My mom is behind me on this side, like shaking me because I'm like,
Yeah.
it's Denver, Colorado, and whole room gets quiet. I answer it, and it's Elway, John Elway. And he asked me if I want to be a Denver Bronco, and I just started crying before I even said anything. My
Yeah.
parents are crying. Everybody's just jumping up with joy. Then about 10 minutes later, they announce it on the draft, and it's really hard to put it in words, man. I still struggle because I mean, not a lot of people, and I'm not tooting my own horn when I say this. It's honestly a fact. Who can say that when they're 8 years old, they dreamt of making it to that level of success and then actually doing it, actually
Mm-hmm.
making it with the team that you wanted to play for? We all know the percentages of making it to the NFL. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
So it was a dream come true, man. It honestly.
No, man, I believe you, man. I believe that was a surreal moment for you, man. Again, to believe it or not, man, a lot of the guests that have been on my show here, man, they've been undrafted, man. So shout out to the undrafted and the drafted,
Ooh, undrafted.
players.
I love the undrafted, man.
You know what I'm
Undrafted
saying?
undrafted is honestly one of the best routes to go.
Yeah.
And some undrafted people who are undrafted don't like hearing that, but it's true. If you come in and ball out like a Philip Lindsay or something,
Hmm.
and you're not locked into a 4 year, boom, you got the power already to negotiate a powerful contract. So, shout out to all the undrafted players for sure.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man.
For sure.
So what was it like transitioning from playing ball at Wisconsin to becoming a pro? What was that transition like for you?
Yeah, it's I always tell people. Some people say that I guess everybody obviously has their own opinions that the NFL seems faster. It's not that the players are faster; it's just they're smarter. This linebacker, excuse me, this linebacker has seen this same formation 15,000 times, so
Yeah.
he's already like, okay, there's only about 6 plays that can come out of this. There's only about 4 plays that can come out of this. So they react faster. They're in the hole faster. So it's not as if they're like running faster. It's just
Mm.
they're just smarter. They're just right there. So that was one thing that it took me actually a little while to adjust to. I'm like, my goodness. And then playing under Peyton Manning too. Playing with Peyton Manning, ooh, it's
Yeah.
tough. That's tough. That
Hall
playbook
of
is
Famer right there, man.
yeah, yeah, most definitely a blessing. That playbook is extensive.
Yeah.
Whew. Yeah,
Man, I want to ask really quick, man. That question is trying to float away from me. But we're just gonna keep moving along. Let me ask you, what motivated you the most, man, while being a pro?
yeah. I wanted to prove that I belonged. You know what I mean? I wanted, I wanted to show my family that I can play amongst the best in the world. Um, I wanted to show the fans at college. I wanted to show everybody that, and obviously myself, that I can make it happen on the biggest stage against and with the best players on the planet. Unfortunately, I my career was cut short due to injuries. I took a lot of carries at Wisconsin,
You took a lot of carries throughout your career.
right? With high
I, s-
school.
I see you almost touched 1,000 carries in high school,
Yeah, then I was 996 in college.
1,000
So
in college. Yeah.
going into the NFL, I had already 2,000 carries under my belt.
Mm.
And so my groin gave out. I tore my groin and never recovered from that, man. Actually tore it again like 6, 7 weeks later and could never recover. My legs were done.
Let me ask you, man. A lot of people speak about plan Bs, man.
Mm,
If you did not get drafted, man, did you have a plan B? Was there a plan B for you? Um,
right,
did you graduate college and and earn a degree, man? Did you have something set up for yourself?
right. The plan. So yeah, I'm just be honest, man. I struggled a little bit once I was done playing. Once I retired, I was going through a lot of stuff. I was finally coming to terms that I was struggling with alcoholism, um, and trying to come to terms with what the heck am I going to do with the rest of my life? I don't, the only skill that I really, really know is how to carry a football.
Yeah.
So growing up, man, I always had my eyes set on the NFL. It was, if you have a plan B, you've already failed plan A.
Mm.
You're not 100% in. Now, I know that's kind of split down the middle with some people, where
Yeah.
it's like, well, no, it's good to have a plan B. I agree. But I understand a little bit what that quote is stating too, is make sure you're 10 toes in. Well, I was more than 10 toes in. So once I retired, I struggled a bit, man, because I was so just used to having a schedule, so used to being told where to be, what time to eat, what time to go to class, all of the above. So once I
Yeah.
had all that freedom, it felt weird and odd to me, and I really didn't know which direction I wanted to go in. Um, just because my self identity, my self esteem is just tied in with the game of football. And so I suffered from depression big time once I was done, but through therapy and through being honest with myself, and owning up to my alcoholism, owning it, and jumping over that hurdle, I was capable of getting onto the path that I'm on now.
Man, you spoke about
Yeah.
ownership, owning
Hmm.
your actions and things of that nature, man.
Yeah.
What has helped? What has played a role into you being able to reflect on your actions, your behaviors, your ways, your
Yeah.
approaches, and things of that there to accept ownership of those things that you experience.
Yeah, man, I love that. It's a journey, it's a process, but at the end of the day, I told myself I have to be honest with myself. I made this mistake. It's a very public mistake, and I owned it. I didn't try to make any excuses. Got into therapy, made my amends. Excuse me. Um, Stayed away from alcohol. Been in long term recovery since August 1st of 2016, and don't plan on turning back. And so, what helped me out big time, man, is my support system, which is my family, being honest with myself, and being vulnerable, allowing for people to know that I'm not perfect, allowing for people to know that I'm fighting demons. I may be fighting that demon of alcoholism until I'm in the ground. I think by saying it out loud brings more
Mm-hmm.
validity to it. More accountability. So it's just I'm at that point in my life now, man, where I just speak from the heart. I really do, and that helps me out a lot.
Yeah. Now I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Let me ask you, man, what advice would you give to any young athletes that are pursuing pro athletic careers or anyone pursuing their personal endeavors?
Yeah, I'm gonna. It's Nilly in there. Definitely had that boy on my fantasy team. Hey, I apologize. I wish I could have got you more points. I apologize about that.
That's a
But
boy right there.
I got you. Um, Advice. Yeah, this is the one question that I love. And I kind of already touched on it, but I'm very passionate about that one, where it's when you get your opportunity, you better be prepared.
Hmm.
Um, you better be prepared. And I hate that comes off so stern. But
No, it
I'm
makes all
never,
the sense.
yeah, I'm never going to sugarcoat it with our youth. Because that's just why would you sugarcoat it because when they get to high school, they're going to have coaches screaming at them,
Hmm.
and then obviously the higher you go, the play or whatever, you have more coaches screaming at you. So when you get that opportunity, make sure that you do not let it slip. You can't. You can't let it slip. And if you do, if you're going to be honest with yourself, you can only be upset with yourself.
Hmm. Yep.
Um, so you got to prepare each day as if that opportunity is the next day. That's just what it is. Because more times than not, you get that opportunity when that player ahead of you gets injured. No one knows when that's going to happen. Just make sure you're prepared when it does.
Got you, man. That makes sense, man. That's big facts right there. So Montee, man, we a lot of people have been tapped into this live tonight, man.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you can share about us, man, that we don't know? Any fun fact about yourself, man, that we don't know? Anything to kind of lighten up the room and lighten up this night here? The sun definitely don't went down on me, man.
I
So anything you
always,
can share?
I always touch on this. And again, I want to talk about my podcast real quick. So you guys would keep this conversation going. I got my own podcast with my brother-in-law who's also sober. His name is RJ, and it's called Untapped Keg. It's on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, etc. Follow me, and you'll see me posting and stuff. Check that out. We keep this conversation going. We
Hmm.
try to make men, more accountable with our
Hmm.
actions, with the toxic masculinity, etc. But with that said, wait, what was your question again? Sorry,
What's
I
up?
tend to
What's
talk too much.
No, you're good. You're good. No, first and foremost, let me highlight that as well. So please,
Yeah,
everyone, make sure you go
put
on
it in
your
the
streaming
chat.
services, your podcast services, and follow. You said Untapped Kegs.
Yep,
Got
untapped keg. Just one keg. Yep, I put it in the chat. Untapped keg. It's we talk about a lot. We got Chris Borland hopping on this Sunday, um, to talk about mental health. But yeah. Please ask the question. Yeah.
Oh no, it was what's something that you can share
Oh,
with
right.
us?
Yeah. I talk about this a lot on the podcast. And it's my guilty pleasure. I'm a little embarrassed to share it, but it is what it is. What it is. I like Lifetime movies, man.
Or I was not expecting that one, man. I was not
And
expecting.
when I say, listen, when I say like, I'm not turning off an Avengers movie to watch a Lifetime
Mm-hmm.
movie. But if I stumble across a Lifetime movie, I'm gonna be like, yeah, okay, what's going on here? And
Yeah,
before I know it, I'm through the whole show,
you
through the whole
binge it.
movie. I don't know. I don't know what it is. The shows are terrible. They're terrible. But I don't know what it is. It's I guess just life stuff that I like
Yeah.
watching. But that's an embarrassing one.
Nah, man, them Lifetime stories, man, they would definitely reel you in, man. I remember,
Right.
my mom watching them, man. I hear it or I hear that little
See,
commercial come
I
on.
think that's where I get it from. Is that yeah.
I hear it, man, and I'm like, yeah, now let me get away from this before I get reeled in. And I'm sitting here watching Lifetime with my mom on the couch.
Right. Yeah. And my
Uh,
grandma too, she watches. So I think it's always been in my subconscious.
mhm.
Yeah.
So, Montee, man, we're wrapping up the show here tonight, man. I appreciate everyone tapping in with us, sitting in, listening to this true testimony here by Montee Ball, my very special guest, Heisman, former Heisman finalist here, NCAA record breaker, record holder, Wisconsin, top back coming out of that state there. Again, check his resume, you guys. Go ahead and look up his highlight tapes, man. This guy was a beast on the field. He's definitely a beast off the field, especially with the things that he has going on right now in his second career.
Mhm.
But Montee, we all want to know, man, tonight, what's your if factor?
What is my if factor?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm going to share. Can I share a quick little story about it?
Most definitely.
My if factor, it's all about a moment that I had with my running back coach, Thomas Hammock. It was going into my junior year, which is why I took off, from being a good running back my sophomore year to obviously standing with four others
Mm-hmm.
in New York City for the Heisman Trophy. It was a moment in time where I was skipping class. My ego was getting the best of me.
Mm.
New running back coach came in. I don't need to listen to you. I just balled out. I don't need to listen to you. So I was skipping class because I was like, one of these classes I didn't care to go to. But long story short, he told me if I miss it again, then we're gonna have an early morning conditioning session. I'm like, man, whatever. I'm calling your bluff. He wasn't. He wasn't bluffing. Wasn't bluffing.
Uh-huh.
Missed the class. He told me to be in the indoor facility by 5 a.m. Got into the indoor facility. It's just me and him. And he told me, man, that I have to do 600 yards of up downs on each line,
Mm-hmm.
then 600 yards of bear crawling,
Mm-hmm.
then 600 yards of doing 10 jumping jacks on each line.
Mm-hmm.
I got through the up downs. I struggled a little bit, but that once you catch the flow of up downs, you're good. First bear crawl I got into, I was done. Body locked up, fell to the
Oh, man.
ground, those little beads from the turf all over my face, spit. And he knelt down next to me. I mean, he's yelling at me. He
Yeah.
knelt down next to me and said, "Is this the great Montee Ball that everyone's cheering for? Is this the great Montee Ball? The great Montee Ball because I was yelling that I quit. And I was like, I'm done. And he was like, you're just going to quit on your team and your family. And he knelt down next to me, man. And what he told me was this. He said, didn't I tell you that if you miss another class, that this is what's gonna happen? So who can you be mad at? Who's the only person that you can be mad at?
Mm-hmm.
And he went on to tell me that you reap what you sow, man. And that goes back to everything that I say. You reap what you sow. If you're not putting the work in, then do not get upset at anybody else if you're not
Yeah.
out there playing. If you're not, and only you know that. So my if factor, man, is that self-reflection of that reap what you sow. If you're not putting the work in, then do not expect to play. Do not expect to perform when you get that opportunity. And so once he told me, you did this to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That was it for me because I said, you're right. I did this to myself, which in a sense taught me that I'm capable of attaining whatever it is I
Yeah.
want if I put the work in.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's my factor.
Nah, man, I appreciate that, man. You couldn't have said it any greater, man.
Yeah.
I greatly appreciate that. I'm pretty sure everyone that's tapped in right now has, been inspired and impacted, motivated, from your testimony tonight, man. Again, we greatly appreciate you tapping in. I got one more question, man. If there's
Yes, sir.
anybody that you could assist us with getting on to another show of In Fact the Friday Live, man, who do you have in mind? Who pops up in your
Oh,
mind that you wouldn't mind recommending?
I like this. I like this. James White.
James White. Okay.
James White. James
And you,
White. Yeah.
and you say he was in front of you at a point in time.
Yeah, yeah. So he was a year younger than me. So going into my sophomore year, he was a freshman and he
Okay.
was balling. He rushed for 1,000 yards as a freshman. So I was like, I'm not going to get my time.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up getting the starting position later in the
Yeah.
season.
Man,
Yep.
definitely gonna do my work, man, and get in touch with James White, man. See if we can get him on the show, man.
Yeah, yeah, man. He's a
So
good cat, good cat. But I got a bunch of other names too. But we can chat offline, and
oh
I can
yeah.
see I can see what I can do, man.
Okay, this sounds
Yeah,
great, man. Again, I
yeah.
greatly appreciate you, man. Is there any words that you have for your audience, man, for your supporters and fans?
I just no, I just like to tell people, man, just to be grateful. We tend to. I think it's very easy right now in today's day and age, just with the explosion of social media, getting news all the
Hmm.
time, all across the world. It's easy to focus on the negatives, and I just challenge people to focus more on the positives. Smile more throughout the day, even if it's hard to
Oh yeah,
smile, because you could trick your brain into being happy. And get away from the cell phones. Get away
yeah.
from the cell phones for a little bit. That's all I
Cool,
got, man.
cool. I appreciate it, man. I'm gonna let you go ahead and enjoy the rest of your evening on
You
this
too.
Friday night, man. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe out there, man. Wear your
Yeah.
mask if you need to, wherever you go. Love on your family, man, and stay safe out there.
Yes, sir. I really appreciate this, man. You take care of yourself
I
and
will,
everybody
man.
else as
Talk to you
well.
soon.
All right.
Yeah, you can probably press the X on there. Everybody, you heard it from the man right there, Montee Ball, man. Greatly appreciate him tapping in. I appreciate all of you furthermore for joining me every Friday here on In Fact the Friday Live. We're going up next week, next Friday here, possibly at 7:30. Y'all just stay tuned. Look forward to the flyers that I'll be dropping later on next week, sometime next week. But shortly after this live tonight, you can catch this replay, this rerun on my IGTV and also on my YouTube channel called Pro League Corner. Hey, I look forward to seeing y'all next week. Peace.